Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Friday, February 14th, 2025. Happy Valentine's Day. I know this is a really tough time for a lot of people. There was just a full moon in Leo on February 12th that was at 24 degrees and 6 minutes of Leo. Leo rules the heart chakra. It's the sign of romance and what makes the heart happy. It's a very creative fire sign, very passionate. And this full moon squared Uranus. Uranus is the planet of surprise, shocks, sudden twists and turns, also brilliance and inventiveness. And it can make you see things in a whole other way. It can also be incredibly disruptive and unpredictable. And there have been a lot of points, a lot of aspects with Uranus as of recent, because we were in Aquarius season. We still are a few more days. We just had Mercury, the planet of learning, perspective, communication, and networking, how you network in a local way, and also how you communicate in a more global way. Mercury just changed signs this morning at 7:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and entered the mutable water sign of Pisces. Now, as I mentioned, we just had that full moon in Leo, and that's the last full moon before the eclipses next month. The month of March is going to have a lot going on because both Venus and Mercury are going to retrograde. It's going to be eclipse season. And then at the end of March, Neptune, which is the modern ruler of Pisces, is going to enter the sign of Aries. And it's going to be in Aries for several months through October 24th. And then it's going to dip back into the last degrees of Pisces. So there's very much a story around, okay, the new age of Aquarius. That's about expanding your thinking, about really reaching beyond your own intellectual limits, learning new skills, brainstorming with other people, opening your mind, opening your frequency, opening yourself to new frequencies and new ways of receiving information, working with new ways of dealing with trauma and with the brain and music and technology in ways that we can't even really grasp yet. And yet it can be, as I said in my last article, it can become incredibly robotic and alienated. And yes, it can be great for business and learning and the intellect. It is impossible to have community without really connecting on a soul level or on a level that you really are. You can, but you're not going to really connect in a way that's meaningful. And this first leg of Pluto and Aquarius, Pluto entered Aquarius at the very end of 2025 on November 19th. It was dipping back and forth the very beginning of 2023, March 23rd through the middle of June. Pluto got to about 0 degree of Aquarius, and then last year it was there for a longer period of time, and it got to 2 degrees of Aquarius, but it finally left Capricorn and will not return in November of 2024, saying goodbye to old systems and structures in our world, old ways of doing business, people in leadership, rules and regulations, and our own limitations. And Aquarius is about infinite possibility and genius, and it is very unpredictable. So knowing what we saw recently, we had Mercury meet up with the sun in Aquarius last Sunday on I believe that was the 9th. And that Mercury was cazimi the sun. That can be disruptive. Then Mercury in Aquarius squared Uranus on Monday the 10th. That can bring unexpected news. That could be very exciting. That could bring a breakthrough. That could be Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So again, learning things in a way that you never thought was possible, but could be a break, could be a fight, could be leaving a job altogether. Then the sun squared Uranus on Tuesday the 11th, the sun in Aquarius. Again, disruptive, jarring, feeling that anxiety. Uranus can raise your anxiety, but this is a time where we're all going to have to work with this. This is not Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Pluto in Capricorn. When Pluto enters a sign, I feel it's already showing where the societal focus has been for a while. We already were in a digital era. So Pluto in Capricorn was saying goodbye to old structures and systems that already had been outplayed and already were outdated. And so the same with Aquarius. We're already in this time of a digital revolution. Now we're seeing it on steroids with all of this energy. The new moon in Aquarius that occurred on January 29th set the tone for the year. Mercury and Pluto met up early that morning to say that change is fast, rapid change is on the menu. Eliminating old ways of thinking that are keeping you from this new era, trying to be as unique and individual as you can in your own contribution, but finding people in your tribe. Aquarius is about finding like-minded people, yet the whole Pisces theme is very prevalent as well, in that we had Venus and Neptune and the North Node of Karma meet up on February 1st, and that was just a couple of days after the new moon in Aquarius. And in the new moon in Aquarius, there were 4 points in the sign of Aquarius. Pluto, the planet of transformation. Mercury, the planet of thoughts, thinking, perspective. The sun and the moon. The sun, how you shine, ego and identity. The moon, how you get your needs met. And then the points in Pisces, Saturn, how are we going to structure the dream, build the dream. Venus, exalted and glorious and magical and beautiful in Pisces, conjunct Neptune, which is the modern ruler of Pisces and the higher octave of Venus, sheer poetry and magic, conjunct the North Node of Destiny, which entered Pisces on January 12th of this year and will transit in the sign of Pisces through July 27th. This is soul focused. This is focusing on people worse off than you are, trying to help others as you heal yourself, finding a calling. Neptune and the North Node of Destiny are still conjunct, and Neptune is currently transiting at 27 degrees of Pisces, setting off the galactic center, which is approximately 26 to 28 degrees of the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius. And this is the center of the Milky Way. This brings psychic downloads. It's very spiritual. This is bringing us this concert. Fire Aid occurred when there were all the points in Pisces, and the moon was in Pisces that day. And all these people, the last degree of Pisces is a fixed star known as Shiat. It is connected with misfortune and homelessness. It can be connected with self-undoing and suicide. And yet you had artists and musicians and empaths and creative people who embody the highest vibrations of Pisces coming together in an effort in charity to raise money and awareness for victims of the fires in Los Angeles. And they raised a tremendous amount of money, but they also put on an amazing concert. Many of the people were also impacted by the devastation that participated in the concert. So, the wisdom of that last degree of Pisces, embodying all the preceding signs, all the pain, trials, tribulations, and lessons and wisdom that last degree of the zodiac embodies. And how do we, with the North Node is now at 28 degrees, but it still just got there. How are you going to magnetize magic in a very broken world? Help people worse off than yourself, And that full moon in Leo, Leo is a sign that many people know is focused on self, having fun. Many entertainers have a lot of Leo in their sign. It's the most creative of the signs, of the fire signs. And I really think that Leo and Pisces are the most creative signs. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which rules the imagination. It's also ruled by Jupiter in ancient astrology, which manifests and helps to bring, something to believe in. And right now, you want to go to the heart where that full moon in Leo, but squaring Uranus is saying shake off those thoughts of just focusing on just yourself. That North Node in Pisces, conjunct Neptune, is saying give to others and you will also give a lot to yourself. That we are dealing with a lot of focus on Aries and Pisces because we're segueing from the eclipses in the Aries Libra axis, which are cardinal signs, action oriented, to the Pisces Virgo signs, which are mutable signs, adaptable, which we need in a very frenetic, chaotic, and uncontainable universe. The new age of Aquarius is infinite and it is unpredictable. Okay. And so with that, we've got Mars is retrograde, which rules the sign of Aries. We began the year with the north node of karma at the Aries point at 0 degrees of Aries, which is the first degree of the zodiac and hits all of us on a global level. And that's when the fires did break out in Los Angeles, and a lot of things were happening at that time. And Mars has been out of bounds since December 30th. Mars is the modern ruler of Aries and it rules Scorpio in ancient astrology. And so we've had that going on, and Mars is out of bounds through April 7th. So several months into the new year, we have Mars acting very unpredictable, very fiery, close to the earth, and retrograde through February 23rd. It's finally at 17 degrees of Cancer. It's moving incredibly slowly, and it's the fastest moving planet normally. It only retrogrades once every 2 years. So here we had the North Node of Karma in Aries in the beginning of the year saying, embrace self, have the courage to be a pioneer in this new year in a very disruptive time. Then the nodes of fate change signs saying, hey, there's chaos and there's tragedies in the world and we need to help people worse off than ourselves. We need to tap into our spiritual selves or we're going to become further alienated and robotic in this new age of Aquarius. And there needs to be a soul-based level. And Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. There is no greater love than Venus in Pisces in its purest form that is exalted. Currently, Venus is in Aries. So we have Mars retrograding on the 23rd of February. We had Mercury, just so I say, because I'm going all over the place. Mercury entered Pisces this morning at 7:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mercury will, let's see, I forgot when it enters Aries, but I know that it retrogrades on March 15th in the middle of eclipse season. And it's going to retrograde at 9 degrees and 36 minutes of Aries, which is very close to where the last eclipse in Aries will occur on March 29th. That's going to be at 9 degrees of Aries, setting off where the solar eclipse in Libra occurred on October 2nd. That was at 10 degrees of the opposite sign of Libra, the cardinal sign of Libra. The stories you were working with at that point when Mars actually entered its shadow, meaning that it got to 17 degrees of Cancer on October 2nd, where it's finally going to station direct on February 23rd. But Venus is slowing down now, and we're only going to have a window of about 5 days from the 23rd of February through March 1st, and then Venus will retrograde at 10 degrees and 50 minutes of Aries, setting off where the eclipse was on October 2nd, setting off where the eclipse will be on March 29th at 9 degrees of Aries, and setting off where Mercury, a personal planet that retrogrades 3 times a year, Mercury giving us a lot of information. Mercury retrogrades on March 15th at 9 degrees and 36 minutes of Aries. But when Mercury stations direct on April 7th, it's going to be at 26 degrees and 49 minutes of Pisces, setting off where the lunar eclipse was on September 17th at 25 degrees and 50 minutes of Pisces, setting off where Venus will station direct on April 12th at 24 degrees and 38 minutes of Pisces. Lots of information. Eclipses wake us up and shake us up like Uranus, the great awakener. They make us see things in a way we never have before, and we can't unsee it usually. And they bring things to light. It can uncover secrets that we had no idea about, and it can change your life in a second. It can also be things that have been building up for a while that you've chosen not to see, and it finally boils over, and that's it. So people can be eclipsed into and out of our lives. There can be fated encounters, particularly with Neptune conjunct the nodes of fate. We're going to have a total lunar eclipse on March 14th. The nodes of fate have to be within 19 degrees of the sun and the moon in order to have an eclipse. And that's like a full moon and a new moon on steroids. But in order to have a total lunar or a total solar eclipse, the nodes have to be within 9 degrees of the sun and the moon. And in this case, the nodes are going to be very close to that lunar eclipse at 24 degrees and 56 minutes of Pisces, of Virgo rather. And so that's a lunar eclipse saying, take care of yourself, ground yourself in all of this chaos. With, Mars will be direct, but in its shadow, both Venus and Mercury are going to retrograde in eclipse season, saying you got to pay attention and a pile up of Pisces energy. We have Mercury and Pisces on and off for quite a while, and we're going to enter Pisces season on February 18th until March 20th when we have the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. A lot to digest. We are now in the shadow of Venus retrograde, so pay attention to the stories coming up around relationships, focusing on your own wounds, but not about self. This is really about other people. Having the courage that was the eclipses in the Aries Libra axis. The North Node in Aries saying to be courageous in this world. But now the focus is really not on you or on me. This is on the collective. This is on all of us. This is coming together. And that's imperative. Take care. Happy Valentine's Day, and I will see you soon.